are back, and we're going to bring on our guest, who will not be brought on until we have the introduction. So this man runs. I don't know the site yet, but he's launching an incredible online gun store that will be an integral part of louderwithcrowder.com in the future, because we're pretty big on the firearms. So he's one of those crazy gun dealers who's going to inform us a little bit more, expand on the gun show Loophole. I am proud to introduce to you our new regular go-to on guns.
I'm the hootin'est, tootin'est, shootin'est, bobtail wildcat in the West.
Yosemite Alex. Yosemite Alex, are you with us?
I am with you. That is awesome.
It is,
dude. First
go
off,
ahead.
I got such a man crush on you. It's a man crush Monday on a Friday. You are such a freaking rock star and a stud. I'm so happy to be on your show.
Stop it. I can only subsist on
How
hatred.
How much did you pay him to say
That's
that?
right.
I
You're
don't.
jerks.
I'm not comfortable with compliments at all. All right. Oh, look.
Either.
I can see you with all those firearms back there.
You know, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit concerned. I've been listening to our buddy Roger Goodman lately, and you know, I'm surrounded by guns here. I'm afraid one of these suckers is going to jump off the rack and load itself and start shooting at me. One of these guys, this guy back here, has been eyeballing me and bulldogging me a little bit this morning. Yeah. No.
Is it a revolver with the mustache?
It's this AR right here. That guy. Don't take that tone with me. Hey, I will field strip you, and I will not use any gun lube. That's right. You got to keep the pivot.
There are AR-15s that are lubeless AR-15s. What was the rifle company? I forgot about them.
Some name. Anderson?
Anderson Rifles. Anderson Rifles. I don't know if you know about them. Okay, so I want to talk with you, Alex, because we did this video this week, and people had a lot of questions going to the gun show Loophole. Clearly, you edited it. So you are an official gun dealer, right?
I am. I am a federal firearms license holder, a Class 2 dealer. Yes.
If someone wants to come in and buy a firearm from you, we're made to believe that it can happen really easily with effectively no background check. You fill out some paper. What's the reality? What is the process for someone coming to you to buy a firearm? Whether they come in there or online. What's the online shop? I know you're setting one up.
Yeah, Patriot Guns with a Z.com.
We might have to change that. That's a terrible name. But okay, what's the process like?
You know, I mean, the anti-gun crowd, they talk about we need to add more regulations. There's already crap tons of regulations. You know, you listen, you'd think that you can just like walk into Wally World and buy a gun, buying a loaf of bread. It's just not that way. There is a very structured process, and it's not easy at all. As a Class 2 dealer, I've got to put people through a thorough set of paperwork. It's called a 4473. It's an ATF form. They've got to answer a bunch of questions. They can't be a felon. They can't be adjudicated mentally defective, meaning they can't have been committed by a judge to some sort of mental facility. They can't have a misdemeanor domestic violence, on and on and on. There's a bunch of disqualifiers. Then I got to phone the FBI. I got to put these folks through a NICS background check. I mean, there is far more scrutiny on these guns than there are on like these Syrian refugees. The Syrian refugees don't have to prove anything. They could just like come into our country with, you know, just saying, well, I'm Mohammed from over here, and I'm just whoever I tell you I want to be.
Well, I don't think they would go with that name. If they're trying to be covert, I think they'd try and convince you that they're
Bob.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bob.
My name's Bob Smith.
Or Farouk.
Yeah, I am Bob Farouk, and if you allow me, I would like to come and rape your women, please. And if they defend themselves with firearms, they will be charged with possession of a weapon. That happened in Sweden with pepper spray. We were talking about that.
Wow, absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it comes down to the right to your own self-preservation. That's what we were talking. You either believe in it or you don't, and then you can geek out and piecemeal the statistics. So, okay, so that's the process. So even more, a lot of people just say, well, it's just if you're a felon. No, domestic violence, misdemeanors.
No, misdemeanor domestic violence, if you've been adjudicated mentally defective, if you're under indictment, if you're under investigation for a felony that's an active investigation. I mean, there's a whole bunch of disqualifiers. You can't just like walk in and say, I want that AR off the rack there. And then, you know, we do some, we take some money and then sell it to them. It's a straw man and a red herring. It's not addressing the real problem of gun violence in this country. We do have a gun violence problem, but it's not the guys that are walking into a gun shop buying guns legally.
What about the gun show Loophole that we hear about?
You know, the gun show Loophole, again, it's just a distraction. It's not addressing the core problem. It's not the rednecks down at the Boise gun show that are committing all the crimes with the guns.
Right.
We have 32,000 gun deaths per year in the U.S. 60% of those are suicides. So you can wave a magic wand and eliminate all guns in this country overnight, and it's not going to stop those folks from killing themselves. Out of the remaining 40%, all these crimes are committed in big blue Democrat cities in a drug, gang, and crime context. It's not Cletus down at the Boise gun show committing the crimes.
Well, could one of those guys, let's say Barack Obama, that's what people were talking about, and they were saying we were dishonest. So from a gun dealer, could that criminal from Chicago go on down to Indiana and just legally get a gun through the gun show loophole without a background check?
No, not at all. It's ridiculous.
There's no legal way to do it. No, you could do it in the trunk.
Legal way to do it.
You could do it in the trunk outside of the gun show illegally, but that's not a loophole.
That exactly. I mean, and if they are really serious about stopping illegal gun violence in the U.S., then close the southern border. You've got drug cartels and gangs like MS-13 bringing illegal guns back and forth over the southern border every single day. It's as easy to buy an automatic weapon on the streets as it is to buy crack cocaine or buy meth or buy marijuana. That's the problem. I mean, if they're really serious about gun control, do gun control on that.
Well, why don't we just close the meth loophole?
There you go.
Close the crystal meth loophole.
Let's close the border loophole. We got sanctuary cities that openly violate federal law, and they're allowed to exist and thumb their nose at federal law. And so I want to be a sanctuary person.
How about
myself a sanctuary person?
Yes. How about we close the murder loophole?
Yeah,
that'd be a good loophole to close, since just anything people do illegally is considered a loophole.
Let's ban murder.
Yeah, let's ban murder. I think that's a good solution. Let's ban murder.
We should. Why haven't we thought of that?
Close the murder loophole.
That's brilliant. Close the murder loophole.
Well, here's one, and I understand it, right? There can be a private. Explain to people there can be a private bill of sale within state, and sometimes those occur at gun. Now in Indiana, there was a guy who said, "Well, we can only if you're to Indiana." We didn't see anyone doing private bill of sales with brand new ARs. It was guys with old shotguns, and you had to be in state. And again, it's still illegal if you have any kind of a criminal background. You can maybe find a way to do it, but it's illegal. So explain to people the private bill of sale issue, because that's what they say is the gun show loophole, when really they're talking about private bill of sale.
Yeah, and again, it's ridiculous. These guys are so freaking paranoid. I deal with these guys every day. I mean, the left accuses them of being paranoid, and then they don't give them credit for being paranoid on the other end when they're selling guns privately. These guys get a bill of sale. They get a copy of their ID. A lot of times they're selling to friends and family. They already know these folks. They know they don't have a felony, this, that, or the other. And, again, they're targeting a group that is not the problem. These aren't the guys that are committing 80% of the gun violence in this country.
Oh, we have to go to a break. Hold on. We will be back.
Right.
Louder with Crowder with Yosemite Alex.
Yosemite Alex, I am a little crazy.
I'm back with Yosemite Alex. Okay. We were talking before we went on the... They say gun show loophole, which is non-existent. What they mean is private bill of sale in some states. Before we left, we were talking about that. Now, people need to understand the context. The real reason for that is sell within families, friends, or, for example, I have a gun registered to my name. There's an intruder. My wife uses it. She's not legally liable for an unregistered weapon, something that's illegal. That's the spirit behind it. Not to go, these people are not arms dealers as you are. So explain for our audience exactly what that means and how it's been conflated with this gun show deal.
Sure. I mean, again, it's a straw man and a red herring. It's a distraction. But, really private party sales are generally speaking for individuals that are transacting guns between friends and family. I mean, or at a gun show between people they know. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. And again, these people aren't the problem. I mean, if maybe a fraction of a percent end up being used in a crime from this type of transaction. So we're going to spend all this time, all this effort, all this money, and the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, focusing on a gnat when we're swallowing the camel of our open, porous southern borders where Mexican gangs and drug cartels are running illegal guns back and forth all the time.
Right.
So it's just
Well,
it's
did you
ridiculous.
see with El Chapo? Did you see what happened? They found one of his guns from the whole ATF scandal. Did you see that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want a gun, just ring up Eric Holder. I mean, it's easier for the cartels to get an illegal gun than it is for you to get one at a gun show.
It wasn't a 9mm.
No, it was a 50 caliber.
It was a 50 cal. It was a 50 cal. The El Chapo. Remember for people who don't remember Fast and Furious, Gunwalker. Right there, El Chapo was the proof. But let's just.
God, Eric Holder's selling more guns than I am, and I'm selling a crap ton of guns right now.
Yeah, his prices are very reasonable. I look forward to when he starts selling them online.
all cash deals. You don't have to pay sales tax. Nothing.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and no background check.
Background check. Yeah.
Just draw a penis in the background check. That's what you're allowed to do. Yeah. So the private bill of sale. Okay. So people say, well, that does happen at gun shows. Again,
it does. Okay, it does happen. It does happen. Okay, but it's and this is how it happens. Generally, these guys are paranoid to begin with, but they're getting a bill of sale, they're getting a copy of these people's ID, and then they're doing a transaction. And maybe a fraction of a percent of those slip through the cracks, and maybe one felon cons one of these guys once in a blue moon. But again, we're focusing all these resources, all this
hold on,
attention.
before we get to that, it's important because, like you said, their incentive. When we asked people in Indiana, they said, "Well, this is what we need your ID, and we do this, and I can't run the background check, but I will get your information." And they said, "If you're not from Indiana, you can't do it. Period." And the reason for that, a lot of people don't know this. If you do a private bill of sale, and there isn't a bill of sale, or that in states, if the person buys it privately, they often still have to register it. But if that doesn't happen, it's still registered to the name of the person who sold it. And
Correct.
so they have a vested interest in making sure that it's sold to someone who won't commit a crime because they're legally liable.
These folks are already, there's already enough law and regulation that is kind of keeping some pressure on these folks. Who wants to sell a gun to, Johnny F. Stick that goes out and robs a liquor store and shoots somebody?
Right.
A, you could be civilly liable. B, then if you're in an anti-gun state, they're looking to make examples of people, and they may really look into that transaction, and you could say, well, I didn't know, but there's already pressure to bear on people to be very careful in a private transaction. And again, the bulk of these transactions, it's between friends and family and known quantities. It's like, you got Cletus and Bubba down at the Boise Gun Show swapping guns. Big deal. They know each other.
Right.
They probably shoot all the time. It's ridiculous. Again, we're straight in the gnat. We're swallowing the camel.
No, you're absolutely right. I just said because people say, well, there is technically a way. So they take the gun show loophole. Barack Obama says 60% of gun crime in Chicago comes from people buying automatic weapons in Crown Point, Indiana at a gun show. Here's the deal. We went to the exact...
That's wrong.
No, it's completely wrong.
That's a false statistic. I've studied this issue.
Oh, sure.
And it's not that 60% is a bogus number.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the 60% assumes, again, it vilifies legal gun dealers like yourself. We did exactly what Barack Obama said people do at the exact place he claims they do it, and not a single person was willing to do it. And leftists will still say, but technically there is this kind of loophole, but that's not the point. We're addressing exactly what he's telling you.
Yes.
And it's a lie. And what is it? I mean, obviously your sales are probably doing really well. He's been great for sales, Barack Obama.
That's the silver lining. The guy is such an a-hole, and I can't stand it. But my God, that guy is the best gun salesman of all time. I mean, I sent him a fruit basket for Christmas and said, keep that stuff up.
He's going to think it's anthrax. You're going to... the NSA is listening right now.
No, do not, please, out there, all you crazy Tea Party guys, do not kill that guy. We do not need another holiday, and we don't need another excuse for 100 years to blame white guys for all the problems in America. Please.
No.
Just let him go away.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not even, I mean, in my opinion, the guy's half white and he's probably gay. He's not even, I don't know.
Oh, God.
If you've seen him throw a baseball, ride a bike, or dance, or shoot a basketball, that guy is white. His mom's white.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, listen. And he would get dusted on the basketball court by Sarah Palin. She played college ball. No one wants to.
I saw the doctor.
There was one YouTube clip where the guy he missed 20 shots in a row.
Yes.
It's painful. Oh.
I saw that, and then the photo op he did with the basketball is clearly just everything's posed and everything's like, oh, look at him dunking all these white guys. Took 20 minutes to set up that shot.
It was so bad. It's our first gay president, by the way.
You know what it is? It's like when the metalheads try and act as though they're tough. As someone who grapples, as someone who does combat sports, you know these are just gelatinous tubs of goo whose ass you could easily kick. But it's fake. And so it's kind of like Barack Obama, who was doing coke in college and was trying to be this
in the reefer,
trying to be this sort of anti-mainstream intellectual, but now he wants to act like he's one of the boys playing basketball, and it's just so easy to see through.
That guy's got so much white guilt. He's got more white guilt than the state of California. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think he feels
I don't know about the gay part. I've talked about this though. I don't think he's gay, and I don't think Hillary Clinton is a lesbian. But considering all the rumors for every conservative all the time, I'm a Rick Perry. I was in a room at MSNBC, and they were saying, "Oh, I really believe Rick Perry's gay." I'm going, listen.
You mean
MSNBC, yeah.
MSDNC.
Yeah, I see what you did there. But I'm saying if we're going to start a rumor, No one would be surprised if Hillary came out as a lesbian tomorrow.
I would not be shocked. Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, really? Yeah.
No one would be surprised. All right. Well, thank you for educating us on the gun situation. When this gun shop gets up, Yosemite Alex, where can they find it?
Well, you don't like the name, so we can work on that. But right now, it's patriotgunswithaz.com.
Patriotgunswithaz.com.
And I'm here in Idaho. I got 3 stores here in Idaho. It is Gun Mecca. Our state is shaped like a gun at Patriot Pawn and Gun in Idaho. We got stores at Star, Meridian, and Homedale, Idaho, near Boise.
We must let you go, but thank you so much, Yosemite Alex, for being on the program. Always good to have people who actually know what they're talking about. Okay, if you like this video, I'm going to level with you here. You can subscribe by clicking my face or the button above. Or you can close this window and not subscribe. It is entirely your prerogative. All I am doing is requesting that you subscribe because we work really hard on these videos and they take a lot of time, but you don't have to. Also, there's a pipe bomb in your car. I would recommend you subscribe.